in, PJ, squeeze in.
Come into the fold.
Put your feet up.
Fab. Thanks so much. So listen, oh, there's a plant there, whoops. So let's start by just introducing yourselves and your businesses to the audience. Danny, I'll start with yourself.
I'm Danny Rennick. I work for Lucy and Yak. I'll be surprised if not many people know it. And I'm the eBay manager for Lucy and Yak.
Gareth?
So I'm Gareth. I'm the customer service manager for DVS Power Tools. Basically, if you ever have anything to do with DVS Power Tools at some point, you've heard my voice or spoken to me. And yeah, we sell power tools on eBay and multiple platforms. So simple as that, really.
Wonderful.
I'm Vicky Dean. I'm one of the directors at our family-run business, which my dad set up about 40 years ago, selling footwear and workwear.
And I'm PJ Scott from Velocity Commerce, co-founder. We've been selling on eBay for almost 10 years across electronics categories, refurbished. We've now got a marketplace agency that's got around 30 clients, telling people all the mistakes we've made, which seemed like a good idea at the time.
Fabulous, thank you so much. So let's start with you, PJ. How did the 10 pillars kind of resonate for you?
Really well for me, actually, because I think it was so easy. You know, it feels like yesterday, 9.5 years ago, packing the boxes, answering messages. We've all been there. Really, really hard. And somebody once said to me, actually, I think it was Steve Oliver from Music Magpie, took me aside and said, look, you need to start working on the business rather than in the business. And I think the minute, we had the business for 18 months before we quit our day jobs and went full time, but it was very clear we had to take a step back and actually start putting plans in place around, forecasting really resonated with me, because I say it to my clients all the time, you can do all the clever stuff you want in terms of item specifics, service metrics, the whole caboodle. But if you run out of stock, you can't get any sales. And I think it's little things like that, just taking a step back, understanding the size of the market you're playing in. Because I think for us, very much, we sold DAB radios at the start of our journey. It was very apparent very quickly we were a massive part of that market, and actually trying to push sales above and beyond where they were was going to be incredibly difficult. So by looking at that, that plan, what other markets can we go into and see a massive boost of growth? And that's what really sort of step changed the business and allowed it to grow as quickly as it did.
Amazing. So that's effectively diversifying your inventory strategy, right?
Absolutely.
So talk to us more about that. Like, what areas did you go into? How was that for you?
So it wasn't rocket science for us. We were quite lucky. We went into clearance stock first of all. So for us, that was a low barrier to entry. We could, buy a small amount of stock, test the market, and we always say, my business partner and I, you never really understand a category until you put your money in and actually start selling. You can do all the research you want, which is a great starting point, but actually buy a bit of stock, sell it. You're talking to the customers, which I loved on there, is actually the amount of info we still get. It's so important to us. We're competing with brands now like Sony, etc. Talking to the customers, understanding why they're buying the product, why is it that particular model or that particular feature, that was so invaluable on sort of going on forward.
Perfect. Cool. Okay, Vicky, coming to you. So your business started with a store. So you were in the land of the stores, the channel of stores. How did you come to realise that eBay was a opportunity for expansion for you guys?
So we started way back when. My dad's standing, I remember being brought up with him going off with his van to the market and then setting a shop up, and that is still a huge part of our business, our bricks and mortar store. And we learn a lot, going back to what you said around, being able to talk to people, we get people in so we can talk to them. And then through, I think, various conversations that online was taking off probably sort of 15 years ago, and that actually eBay was probably the platform at that time to launch that online business. And so that was that diversification of, I suppose, being a safe option in terms of being able to do that. It was a case of learning the platform at that time and then looking at how to build the inventory, which was, I suppose, at the time, a shared stock and quite hard to manage. And actually the technology's moved on significantly to be able to integrate that technology across, whether it is a store and online, or with us, we keep our stock separate. And so we can integrate that stock across a few platforms.
Perfect. And I suppose, obviously, specifically with footwear, it enables people to come try it on, you know, kind of have that, like you say, integral store community feel to your overall business as well.
Yeah. And so we're pretty well known locally within the community for that, but actually we've got a much bigger reach, certainly nationally, to be able to strike out and utilise that experience and expertise that we've built up over a significant period of time to be able to put that offering out across the country.
Oh, excellent. Cool, thank you. Gareth. So DVS Power Tools has got a really interesting kind of backstory that combines, firstly, understanding their clear strategy, but definitely knowing their customer base. Talk us through that.
I think that's one of the key things for us. Sort of power tools is a very niche market, still a very old market. Until COVID, sort of online reselling for power tools was a very, very small percentage. It's blown up over COVID. So for the guys, you know, sort of for our founders, our directors to be able to make inroads, it was a case of knowing what the community wanted in the right place at the right time. The great thing is they're sort of, you know, they're from Bulgaria themselves. So pre-Brexit, pre-COVID, a lot of the building market was Eastern Europeans coming in. They wanted the European tools. So knowing that fact, they were able to sort of find that niche, be able to, you know, really build a small business at the time on that. And then with COVID and sort of just knowing the customer and being able to go, right, okay, you know, we really managed to dial into the home user a lot quicker than a lot of other businesses and a lot of our competitors were able to sort of maximise that opportunity, see through huge growth through COVID. And even now we're still looking, going, right, what is our new customer getting? What is our new customer wanting? What challenges are they facing? How can we tailor our sales and our listings and our products to be able to actually push what they're doing? Because a lot of the stuff we do, they're running their own businesses or they're working in businesses. So how can we back them to really support them and support ourselves, and the whole lot grows.
And so tell us a little bit more about that. So specifically, you're like, there's this customer need, we need to solve it. Like, give us an example of a power tool that's done that.
Yeah, fine. So an example is the fact that you're seeing a lot of new battery technology coming out, especially with sort of climate changing and everything like that. Mm-hmm. You're seeing slowly coming through the market a lot sort of greater battery technology. They're getting smaller, they're getting quicker to charge. Having that and being at the forefront of that is something that is really pushing, especially a lot of our younger base. In terms of sort of the older guys and girls in the industry, they want something that's practical, it's going to last, it's going to be good value for money, because we can all go out and buy something that's going to do the job. But when you're sort of investing, you know, a good few £100, and you know, for most people that's not money, that's hours of work, especially in the building trade. You want something that's going to work with you and for you for 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years, rather than, you know, something that you're going to use for 10 minutes. Yeah. So it's a case of knowing that and being able to put a product in front of people. They go, yeah, this is a trusted brand, this is a trusted product, we recommend it, we've used it. You're going to, you know, spend your money and save at the same time.
And so how do you go about kind of asking your existing customers what more they want?
It's a case of sort of getting in touch with them, really. We speak to a lot of our guys. We do try and sort of push our own personal service. We don't have bricks and mortar. We are purely online. We've only ever been online. We started on eBay. That's where our business has grown. So it's a case of speaking to them, and you've got to sort of look at every single customer and understand their own journey. You know, we speak to the guys, especially through sort of the messaging platform. You know, it's, oh, have you got this little bit, or have you got that little bit, or I do this, I do that. And it's taking that and it's building that picture over what might be very small communication with 20, 30, 40 people, and actually being able to go, right, this is, and mould your ideal customer out of it and go, right, this is how we relate to them.
Yeah, interesting, fabulous, thank you. So, Danny, so talk to me a little bit about Lucy and Yak, and specifically how it's grown as, quite frankly, such an exciting brand at the moment within the fashion space.
Yeah, well, it's grown exponentially over the years. It's just growing faster than we can actually keep up with it, to be honest.
Worth noting that you are modelling some of their fantastic fashion items.
I had to wear them. It wasn't my choice.
I love it.
Yeah, no, we're always growing. We're always outgrowing our warehouses, our offices. We've just got a new office. We need a new one already. And it's just great. I don't think it'll ever stop, to be honest. We do so much good for the community and the world, and everyone seems to support us in a lot of different ways.
So talk to us a bit about that and the kind of circular economy play that you're touching on there.
Yeah, so we like to listen to what our customers believe and their values and everything, and we kind of try and keep to our own values, which also match what our customer base is. So we try and do a lot. We try and give back a lot. Around Black Friday, we're giving back to the world. We send schoolgirls to India, send Indian girls to school in India, and then we do a lot. We do a lot of different campaigns, raising awareness for different aspects that aren't even to do with dungarees. Just things. It's mainly what Lucy believes in, like really pushing different aspects that people believe in.
Fab.
Right.
And I think talking about knowing your customer base and how you guys as a brand have really driven that brand awareness, it's probably safe to say that you've nailed social media.
Yeah.
Like, talk us through your strategy of kind of how you attack that, right? When there's so many brands, so many people doing it now, like, what was the approach?
It was a bit of a strange one, really, because our founders, Chris and Lucy, they're not really big on social media anyway. But then I looked recently, and we have over 500,000 followers on Instagram, which is one of our biggest platforms for social media. Wow. But then we also do employ a couple of moderators for our official Facebook groups, and that is such a big community on there. That's what helped eBay. It helped us start off on eBay a lot, was because our customers, it's more of a community than a customer base, and I think that's what makes it special. It's more of a fan base, and everyone's in it together. Everyone's a yakker.
Love that. And so they share wearing different items.
Yeah, there's a lot of swapping, trading out, and everyone's just behind it. Not just like the dungarees and everything, but what we stand for as a company.
Fantastic.
Right.
Excellent. Well, listen, it's definitely been a fantastic journey to watch. So talk about the foundations of the house. So obviously the listing optimization. So Vicky, you've been on an interesting journey, I think it's fair to say, when it comes to the foundations. Tell us about the impact that focusing on that has had on your overall business.
Okay, so being very honest, we neglected eBay for a while. We've had that conversation, Sarah, I know. So we neglected it, saw our sales drop significantly, and with a bit of love and hard work, to be fair, and the work through the Pro Trader programme, it's been really helpful to be able to look at keywords and to really consider what that listing title looks like, actually whether we keep a listing going or whether we end it, and having kind of internal debates and actually engaging my staff to be able to really think about it. So they'll now come to me and have conversations like, we've tried this listing title but it doesn't seem to have done very much, what should we do now? And we kind of have a bit of a strategic discussion, I suppose, around maybe one listing even, and go, right, well, we'll try that, and then we'll come back to it next week and see how that works. But actually, it has worked, and I think we've seen a growth of 25% in the last 12 months by actually just being kind of working through the listings in almost different ways. So some of them we've just gone, you know what, it's doing, going back to that slide earlier, it's doing absolutely nothing, it's not had a sale. To be fair, I think 6 months was probably quite a short period of time for some of our listings, and to just go, actually, we're just gonna pull it off.
The cull of the stagnant listings.
Yeah, the cull. And it is a bit of a nerve-wracking thing to do, to sit there and go, you know what, I'm gonna ding, 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 delete listing and start again. But actually, it is showing to start dividend. You know, we're getting dividends from that, and we've still got a long way to go. I have. No, you know, we have some significant work to do, but we are working through it, and we're now thinking about it, and we're actually thinking about how the platform optimally works as opposed to just throwing things on and hoping for the best.
Yeah, perfect. PJ, I think you also believe in investing in the foundational aspects of listings. Like, tell us kind of why you think that's such a vital part.
Massively passionate about this. I think if you look at the lifetime value of a product, spending an extra half an hour on it in the first week, setting it up and making sure it's absolutely perfect, that's going to deliver tenfold return on investment over the time. I think what Murray said was really interesting around, and what you said about the gold ring, two images, etc. We know the lion's share of customers now view on a mobile device. Really easy, and I see this in the office all the time. The guys fall in the trap of saying, look at this amazing content on a massive widescreen monitor. And I said, look at it on my phone, I can't read what that is. I think more and more people are shopping through the images, so what we try and do is explain the features and the benefits. It's really important to do both. all through the secondary images, make sure they understand that. And, you know, if the easiest way to improve sales is either improve conversion or impressions. You touched on sort of item specifics and make the importance of that. We always say that in the business that the price is the last thing you should touch. You should go back to the listing, make sure, you know, it's converting as well as it should be. All the item specifics are ticked because that's free impressions basically, and, you know, everyone's viewing it on a mobile device and they're browsing on a mobile device, so you need to make sure you're ticked and optimised in that way.
Yeah, fab. And you know, I think the testament here from these guys is just why it's so important to invest so heavily in the listing optimization. And definitely, as I said in my 10 pillars session, check out Alex's session later on ensuring that you're maximizing your opportunity there. So an important part for any business, and Gareth, this is to you, is obviously enabling the growth and driving it. So tell us how DVS Power Tools have really enabled this.
So we really shut up through COVID, and if anything, we're sort of victims of our own success. Like PJ said earlier, it's having the stock there to actually be able to sell it. Otherwise, you can't get any sales. So using the eBay Capital, can't remember the full name of it now, eBay Capital.
Capital, yeah.
Yeah, really did allow us to actually be able to sort of fill those gaps across, what, 3.5 years now? Because at the end of the day, with imports being really not great over COVID, you know, not that much nowadays is manufactured in the UK, especially electronics and power tools. Everything gets shipped in. When those containers hit, you need to be on it, you need to be able to buy it there and then. Back in the day, a bit like going down to the dock and, you know, sort of buying your fruit and your veg and everything. So being able to have the eBay Capital basically allowed us to take the deals when we needed them and really be able to keep the stock going, keep it turning over, which then just drives those sales. You know, there were some points throughout COVID that we were the only ones with the particular model of tool. So we really managed to maximise those sales. You know, there were some times that when we were out and there were other people that were able to do it as well, but really luckily, thanks to eBay Capital, we were just keeping that curve going, and it's still going today, which is absolutely fantastic.
Fantastic. And how quickly did you get access to that capital?
For us, it was literally, I think it was a couple of days, if that.
Amazing.
It wasn't very long at all. Obviously, it gets quicker the more times you do it. So I think the first one might have been about a week or so, but then after that, it was legally split, and we can do it within reason now whenever we need to, whenever we get those deals. Our directors can jump on it and they haven't got to wait. Yeah,
fantastic. And I suppose that even lends itself into remaining agile, right?
Yeah.
You've got this stock opportunity that you need to make the most of, then that quick capital enables it.
It really does, especially because sort of like with any commodity market, the market moves so quickly. Prices can go up and down and side and left and right. It really does allow us to maximise the opportunities, remain agile, and do business as quickly as we can, as efficiently as we can.
Perfect. So, I mean, Vicky, coming back to you, like we've talked many times, right, about kind of remaining agile and going back and considering it. I think even when you touched on your listing piece then, just going back and re-looking at listings and always evaluating has really helped. But other than that, like, what's been your experience on this front?
In terms of
in just remaining agile, figuring out how to evolve and grow your business.
I think a couple of key things for me has been that we've started to empower our staff a lot more. I think that's been a really key part of the business, in that a lot of the answers do lie within the business. They don't necessarily. There are some that, and actually being here obviously helps, but actually my staff have got really good ideas, and we didn't really empower that before. So actually by utilising that, and actually one of the key things around the business at the moment is that actually I'm trying to drive the staff to understand that if we can be better and we can sell more, then actually we can reinvest back within our staff. And actually times are difficult, and so that has been a key driver for us, is that we can keep it within the family of the business, as it were, in terms of that reinvestment, but being agile around product as well. So actually, if we can, by utilising the staff, they can highlight, actually, somebody here seems to be selling this product really well. Can we get that product? Yeah, okay, let's look at that. So it doesn't necessarily just come from me that way. I think that agility around the business is really critical, but equally by having, as I mentioned before, the shop, we can almost try things in the shop. Oh, that seems to be working in the shop, so let's try it online, and vice versa. So sometimes we buy a product for online, and the shop are like, come could we try that? So actually we've got a bit of balance, and actually something might sell really well in the shop, but not well online, and so we can do swapses and negotiations across the business.
So actually, I guess the multiple channel, again, to my previous session, offers the ability to have different strategies in different places and expanding the reach and growth overall.
Absolutely, yeah.
Fab. Cool. So, PJ, same question for you. Like, why do you feel that it's important to constantly evolve and remain agile?
I think if you look at the business that we had 10 years ago to now, it was quite easy in the early days to get romantic about certain categories that we'd always done well in. The beauty of a marketplace, I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, we've got the right to sell that all the time and make a profit on it. That is the beauty of a marketplace for the customer. You might get other suppliers or brands come in that actually change the landscape of that category for you. So I think for us, we learned early on to actually say, look, as much as we might have been selling that product group or with that brand, it's no longer viable for our business, and actually stepping away from it. And I think that was quite a hard thing to do sometimes, and actually knowing when to say no and saying, okay, that frees up cash flow in other areas. We can then use TerraPeak, which is great to say, okay, what other markets are increasing, what's our market share, and then go into those. And I would also say, you know, I think from day one, we had a sort of a ability of saying to each other, forget what you've paid for items. We always had, you know, we knew what we had to pay in 3 months, or big bills that were coming down the road with Chinese imports or UK suppliers. And having that ability to go, look, yeah, we might have paid 10 quid, 20 quid for a unit. We're going to liquidate that stock now and be agile in that sense, because I think you need to be looking at the bills that are coming down and actually just make decisions on an ad hoc basis.
Yeah, fantastic. Fab. So, I mean, we're trying to catch up time, and we were going to offer some questions to the wider audience, but I think that these guys would be more than happy to take questions afterwards, just so that we can catch up with time. I'm sure you're probably all desperate for a cup of coffee and a pan au chocolat. But to finish, let's talk about what's next for each of your businesses. So, Danny, what's next for the avid yakkers in the audience?
Well, it's always expansion, isn't it? That's the bottom line. But personally, with eBay, I just want to keep watching it grow, open up to international, and then get that going.
Fantastic. So, cross-border trade and global shipping program.
Yeah,
excellent. I'm sure there is a global yakkers following, awaiting.
They're dying. They're waiting.
I love it. Gareth, what about DVS?
For us, very much sort of solidify a position here within the UK. We are as much as we are a UK company, we are a European brand, getting back out there after Brexit and going further afield. One of the largest current markets for power tools is Australasia, New Zealand, and also into the US as well. So places where eBay performs outside of the EU is sort of our next big adventure, hopefully.
Excellent.
So we'll see how it goes. But
fantastic.
I might be flying out to Sydney soon. You
Can't
never know.
complain with that. Vicky?
For us, it's to continue to look within. So I can't take going back to internationally from Brexit. It still hurts a little bit. But there's still lots of foundations to build in the UK around the various platforms. So I think it is around that optimisation actually within our bricks and mortar store. So actually, how do we optimise to our local community? Then how do we look at our websites and within the UK, and then making sure that the product is right that we're selling, and actually we can maximise some margin, because actually retail's really tough. So actually identifying the products where we can make money to reinvest back into product and also our staff.
Yeah, absolutely. And last but by certainly no means least, PJ.
I think the thing we're massively excited about at the moment is talking, and we're in the process of taking 2 very large brands and setting them up with their own eBay account and running it for them. So sort of giving them that power and handing it over to them over the course of sort of the next 2 years.
Fantastic. Excellent. Well, thank you so much to my panellists. It's been super informative. Hopefully for you guys, it's helped kind of solidify what we talked about from the 10 pillars of success and how their businesses have evolved and adapted utilising those strategies. Thank you very much for your time, and thanks again to the panellists. All the very best in the future. I'll hand over to Fergus. Cheers.